once you get some traction with influencers, you're making some money, right? Whatever it is, 50 bucks a day, a couple $100 a day. How do you scale? How do you approach that? How do you do it effectively? There's a few things you have to do, because if you actually don't do it right, you're gonna end up going backwards and not being able to make it work at all. So there's a few things you gotta be careful of when scaling. The biggest thing is you have to be careful when you're reusing different pages. So, or by different pages, I mean the same pages you've already been using. So let's say you have 5 pages that are working, okay? You're making a few $100s a day, let's just call it $1,000 a week, and you wanna scale that. Obviously you gotta take that to the next level, and you're trying to go to a few thousand a week. Okay, you can start using those pages more frequently. There is kind of a limit to how much you can use them and a structure you have to follow, and we're gonna talk about that here in a second. But you're also gonna wanna start scaling up to bigger pages. So let's say you're running 5 different pages, like I just said, that example, and those have around 300,000 to 500,000 followers, kind of in that like middle of a million range, so 500,000. But you can start testing pages that are a million, 1.5, 3 mil, 5 mil, 10 mil, and slowly start scaling up. You wanna build your way up. Start with the smaller influencers, get those working, and from there you can build off of it. Start running with those bigger shout outs on bigger pages that are gonna be more expensive, but they're also gonna bring you back more results. And you go back to the ones you were already running that had worked, you know, the smaller ones with only a few 100,000 and whatnot, and you can start running those more than once, okay? So first of all, let me just give you a quick guideline. If you have a page that works and you wanna start making more money off it, you can run it about 2 to 3 times a week without having it get killed super fast. So there is a longevity to how long you can use influencers. It'll probably last you about a few months for the same product. So it really just depends. I mean, it can only last you a few weeks. It can last you a few months, depending on how often you use it and how you're advertising, as well as the size of the page. So those variables do come into effect. But let's just say 2 to 3 posts in a week. That's a solid amount. So like every 2 days, every 3 days roughly, you can post on a page and do a shout out. Now, when you're doing that, I would recommend not having it be the exact same product every time. So let's say it works for a product, you can test another product on your store that's similar to it, because it should work, and you want to test different products. Because when a page works for you, odds are it'll work for another product, and you can probably find a product where it'll work better than that initial product that had already worked. So you can make even more money. But you're gonna wanna filter between multiple products as you're doing these every single week, because if not, it's gonna get saturated. People are like, oh, I just saw that 2 days ago. You know, they get kind of annoyed, which brings on a whole nother problem. They're gonna kind of unfollow the page. That page is gonna lose their engagement and their credibility, which is just bad for them as well as anyone else advertising on the page. You wanna be just courteous, right? It's the overall standard, it's the niche. You just gotta be courteous to the other people on there, okay? So a few times a week, if you are running the same product, right, a few times in a week, that's fine. I wouldn't really push it more than about 2 times a week, maybe 3. I would really stick to 2. But if you're gonna do 2, still, don't have it be the same setup. Use a different picture. Maybe it's a different angle, a different color product, whatever, and use a different caption. Maybe it's different emojis, a different structure, different call to action. Just switch it up so that it's not the exact same thing. People are gonna have deja vu. They're gonna remember the exact ad they saw if they see that exact same thing again, not just for the product. And it can actually be a good thing if someone sees a product again, right, with a different structure, because then they're like, wait a minute, I just saw this one's different, but it's for the same product. It must be a good product. I'm seeing it again, but it's different. So they feel like it's coming from somewhere else. So it's like, you gotta keep just testing that stuff, run through, but I would not push it above about 3 times a week. That's kind of the cap for an influencer. Otherwise, they're just gonna stop working for you very, very quickly. Okay, so like we said, scale the larger pages. This right here is gonna be the biggest thing, because there's a few ways you can approach this, right? You're gonna slowly push outside of your niche, like the direct niche that you're in, right? You're running influencers for it. It's very niche congruent, it's specific to your niche, but you can also start branching out from that a little bit into slightly more general pages that have a much larger audience to test it and see if it works. And oftentimes it will, just because of the amount of people that are in there. An example for that would be meme pages. Meme pages, there's a lot of them. First of all, funny videos, you know, regular memes. They have like world star type of stuff. Those pages are in surplus. There's a lot of them, 10, 20, 50, 100 pages, but they also have millions and millions of followers. Those are some of the biggest influencer pages that exist today that are not personal brands. They can have 10 million, 15 million followers. It's insane. So you can really make a lot of money off those. Obviously, they're gonna cost you more, but that's why you slowly scale. You start scaling to larger pages, because with Instagram, you know, you're gonna wanna scale to Facebook once Instagram's working, and we're gonna really dive in depth and focus on that. But with Instagram, there's a lot of money to be made if you can start using bigger influencers and use them frequently. Slowly, don't do this fast. slowly start posting more and kind of using them more frequently just to kind of get the sweet spot for it. You don't want to go from, okay, I did one post, now let me start doing it every single day. You're gonna kill them. You want to kind of find that sweet spot and identify what's going to work the best for you, your products, those pages, and just come to a conclusion on what's the best possible thing for you. It's really not all that difficult to scale on Instagram, but it is super important that you do it the right way. That's a couple of things to think of when you're going through and trying to scale on Instagram once you get it to the point where you're making some consistent money. So I hope that helped, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video.